You got all the juicy slobber. Hello, my little nerdy birdies. I am back with another video, and it's very different from what I'm used to doing. So, um, if some of you know, the last few months have been a little bit crazy, and I've been a little bit under the weather. But during that time, while I was not feeling so great, I discovered the wonderful world of booktube, and I was so excited to discover all of these new books and all of these new authors that I went a little bit crazy and I bought a bunch of books. When I say a bunch, I have like 2 bags here full of books. I found a used bookstore in Albany. Love. Barnes & Nobles was having a sale, but I only got 2 books from Barnes & Nobles because their sale sometimes doesn't really feel like a sale. But I got 2 books from Barnes & Nobles. And where else did I get? Oh, I found books for a dang $1 at the farmer's market. And that has made me so excited because I've found some really good books that it's just a steal for it to be $1. So I wanted to go ahead and share my books with you guys today because, I've been watching Book Talk for a little bit. Booktube, and a little bit of Book Talk, but I've been watching BookTube for a minute and I love the recommendations, and I don't know why I've never thought to do a book haul or a book review because I love to read. And if you watch any of my other videos, you'll see me at libraries and bookstores a lot and showing you kind of different things that I'm interested in reading. So I'm super excited today to come with this book haul. I will say I have made this video a few times and each time I've overthought it because social media is just a monster, and I realize that our generation right now is hypersensitive. So some things that I say, like if I say anything that's offensive in this video, I truly don't mean to be offensive to anybody. These are my opinions about books that I've read. Some of them I enjoyed, and you guys might enjoy those books as well. And some of them, you might not enjoy those books because we have different tastes, and that is okay. My genre is dark fantasy, horror, historical fiction, and some dark academia. Really love that. Donna Tartt actually got me into dark academia because I got The Secret History for my birthday. And it was a very interesting book. So, So without further ado, let me start with the books that I got for $1. Super exciting. $1. The first book that I got is a historical fiction book by an author that I love. Now, some people, again, historical fiction is not for them. You do have to... Sorry, my headphone is not charged. And it's screaming in my ear. Let's put that over there. So, as I was saying, historical fiction, it's something that you have to like history, I feel, in order for you to get into some of those slower reads of historical fiction novels. Philippa Gregory, I feel like, is a great author. The first book that I read from her was The Other Boleyn Girl, and I read that in Florida years ago. I want to say about 2011, when I was staying out there. And that book was just great. It made me want to read all of Philippa Gregory books because she is talking about Henry VIII's wives and kind of their perspective, and seeing their perspective is quite interesting. I believe The Other Boleyn Girl is Anne Boleyn's perspective. And then I read the book prior to that, which is what I felt like would be a prequel to that book, and that was The Constant Princess, and that was Catherine of Aragon's story. Now, this book right here, it's called 3 Sisters, 3 Queens. It's also by Philippa Gregory, and it is about Catherine of Aragon, which is the wife of Henry VIII, the first wife of Henry VIII, and both of his sisters, Mary and Margaret, who were briefly queens of Scotland and France, I believe. So it kind of just goes and talks about their rivalries that they have. And if you have not read about ladies in waiting and just queens and just the stuff that happens in like royal palaces, it's pretty interesting, especially if some of it is true, which I'm sure a lot of it is, but or near the truth at least. But it's interesting. I love it. I'm excited that I got this book for $1, and again, it is in really good condition. Nice book. I'm going to try to stack these books right here. The next book that I got, because I wanted to try a different genre, and I do love this author. I trust him. It's James Patterson. I read all of his Alex Cross series. Well, most of the Alex Cross series. I know he had a couple more books that came out after I had read. I forgot what's the last book that I read. I think I read like the 5th or the 6th book in that series, and then I stopped reading it. So I have to get back on that. But I wanted to try some romance, and this has some romantic aura around it, and it is called Sundays at Tiffany's. Now, from what I got from this book is, kids that are lacking maybe attention or friendships get an imaginary friend that stays with them until they're about 9 years old. However, this girl, she finds her imaginary friend when she's older, and it's the same guy, and she falls in love with him. At least that's what I got from the synopsis. And it just sounded intriguing, and James Patterson is a good writer, so I'm excited to read this book. And again, it was $1. $1, guys. I couldn't pass it up at all. The next book that I got is called Well, This Is Exhausting. And this book just looked fun. It has a little champagne glass. It's pink. It seems like just a humorous book. It says Benoit explores what it means to be a good girl, in parentheses, by diving into parental divorce, body issues, crushes, sex, love, standing up for yourself, hostile workplaces, and the tired line between chill and too much. Peppering her advice with humor, poise, pop culture references, and a couple of one-liners that had me literally laughing out loud. Readers might find themselves hoping they're secretly Benoit's sister, and therefore the direct recipient of some of her best life advice. I don't know about you, but mama could use some life advice, and some humorous life advice, especially given the last few years, the last few months, I don't know, my entire fucking lifetime. Yeah, some humor, some books. Book therapy is great. So, and it looks pretty, so I wanted to get that book. Yes. The next book I got is because it was a booktube recommendation. It sounded fun. The most that I know about sounded. I have to figure out if that's a word. So if I say that a few times, I'm sorry. It sounds good. But I told you guys that I'm into the dark academia, so I'm super excited that I found this book for $1. No, but it's the advanced readers edition, and it is Catherine House. And when I say this is what dark academia vibes, I don't know much about this book, but I'm super excited to read it. And again, it was $1. And that's all I have to say about that. The next book that I got is culturally intriguing to me. And it is historical fiction again. And it is on Reese's book club list. And it is called The Henna Artist. So when I read the synopsis of this book is a 17-year-old girl escapes an abusive marriage and she becomes a great henna artist. And I'm all for women empowerment, so go get it. It's exciting. Now, the next book that I got, and I really enjoyed it, and there's tons of mixed reviews on BookTube about this book. But again, you have to like historical fiction, and you have to be a person that is not trying to rush through a book. I don't quite understand how people are reading 40 to 100 books a month. I don't know how you can connect with a book that way. I don't really get it. It's not really my thing. I probably will be reading like a book a week. If it's really interesting, maybe 2 books a week. But I read this book in a week, and it was really good. And it is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. And again, it's very atmospheric. It's very much the feelings of how Addie is feeling throughout her, throughout the years, throughout 300 years of life that she lives. I don't know if I just gave a spoiler away. If I did, I'm so sorry. So it says, never praise to the gods that answer after dark. All you need to know. It says, France, 1714. In a moment of desperation, a young woman named Addie meets a dangerous stranger and makes a terrible mistake. As she realizes the limitations of her bargain, being able to live forever without being able to be remembered by anyone she sees. So the invisible life of Addie was like, nobody can remember her. She makes a deal with a demon, and he gives her essentially what she wants, but a twisted version of what she wants. I like to explain it like, I say I want to be alone. A lot of the times it doesn't mean I want to be lonely and I want everybody to leave me. So you have to be very specific with your intent and what your wishes are. I do think that there were some things that were glazed over in this book. Like for me, it was very triggering because it was a lot of terms of like a very toxic, borderline abusive relationship between Addie and this demon. You know, he says he ruins her life. You know, he makes sure that she is bound to him. He makes sure that she does what he wants. And you'll see what I mean if you read it and if you really dive into it. And I don't know, think beyond what they're just telling you on the surface. It's interesting. It's symbolic. I really enjoyed this book, and it's probably one of my favorite books so far this year. So I'm excited for that. And I also, guys, I got this book for $1. Look at that. Like, it's in perfect condition, and it was for $1. Exciting. So the next book that I got, I was so excited that I found this book for, again, $1. I just couldn't believe it. It's hardcover as well. But I saw this book, I believe, on Barack Obama's book list for 2021. And I had already wanted to read this. And sometimes I'll snoop on like celebrity book lists and just see what they're into. But this book has a little gay romance, a little gay Confederate romance. Again, historical fiction. Love it. Love the fact that it has the LGBTQ in this book, and it is called The Sweetness of Water by Nathan Harris, and I just can't wait to read this. $1. The next book that I got that is historical fiction is, and this is Russian culture now, is The Nesting Dolls by Alina Adams. Now, this was not recommended, not a booktube recommendation at all. I just saw this book. It looked like it was in great condition. The back seemed interesting to me, and I just couldn't pass it up because it was $1. $1. Now, this, from what I got from the synopsis, it's basically it's following 3 generations of life. So, like, let's say you're following my life, and then you're following like my mom and then my grandma, and you're seeing kind of the adversities that we face and things like that, and how we overcome them. So, at least that's what I got from this book, and I'm super excited to read it. Boom. And the little nesting dolls, like, I kind of want to know what the meaning for, like, I don't think I know the meaning or the history behind nesting dolls, and I'd love to find that out. So, yeah. I think that might be on my dollar books. I think I'm missing one. It might be in this other bag, but I'll get to it in just a second. The next book that I got, and this is from Barnes & Nobles, because they were having a little bit of a sale. I got Ninth House. Now, from what I saw, this is like dark fantasy, dark academia, paranormal elements in it as well. It's about a person named Alex that can see, ghosts and stuff. Oh my gosh, my eye itches. But they get accepted to they get called to go to Yale University, and they have to look over all of the elitist groups in the school. And usually, dark academic books or stories, someone ends up dead, and then they have to figure out who and why that had happened. So I'm excited to read this, and I've heard some great reviews on it. So very, very exciting. Very, very. The next book. The cover is so gorgeous. It's gorgeous. It's cute. It's fun. I got this book for my girlfriend, and I think that she's really going to enjoy it, and it won't be too scary for her. And it is called My Best Friend's Exorcism. From what I heard about this book, it has a great best friend connection, and one of the friends gets possessed, but the other friend is there to basically help her through this. So I thought, based on that, it was really cool. And then look at the cover. This looks like a total VHS. It even says, please be kind, rewind. And I don't know, it reminds me of Friday nights at Blockbusters, getting movies with my friends, and then going home with snacks and stuff. And yeah, super cool. And I always notice something different on this cover every time I see it. Dope. Dope. The next book that I got. And actually this is for $1 as well. So, whew, mama went in. Was The Goldfinch. Now, I read this book at the beginning of the year because it was lent out to me, and I absolutely, abso-freaking-smootly enjoyed it. I love it. I love this book. It's a coming-of-age story about a kid named Theo who loses his mom to a museum bombing. He somehow gets possession of the Goldfinch, which is a portrait in the museum, and it's very symbolic throughout the story for him. So I know a lot of people say that Donna Tartt is She's a great writer. Let's just put that out there. But it's long, it drags a little bit. I don't think it drags at all. I mean, I feel like when something drags, it's because you can't read it. At least for me, in my personal opinion. Like, I have this book back here. I've been hearing great reviews about it. Great. I bought this book, but for some reason, when I try to read it, I can't get past the first couple of pages, and I'm really trying to, because it just feels like a harder read, right? How is this hard? Like, I mean, it's long, but she writes so phenomenally that I don't understand how, I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but it's a good book. And I felt like when I was with Theo that I was in the streets of New York City. I felt like I was walking in Vegas with him, getting blasted out of my mind, and having all of these crazy experiences. I really felt for Theo. I really loved his friend Boris, and I just really loved the whole idea behind the goldfinch and why it was so important to him. So I find this to be a great book, and Donna Tartt is a great writer. The Secret History, I feel like the ending could have been a little bit different, or a little bit longer, because if you're going to take that much time to write a book either way, I mean, another 100 pages, I don't mind. As long as it's great writing, don't mind at all. The next book that I got for $1, and I just couldn't believe it. When I say I couldn't believe it, I just couldn't believe it, because I was just at Barnes & Noble's and it was like $16 on sale, is this book right here, Hide. I got this book for a damn $1. And just look at the inside of it. Look at how pretty that is. It's just gorgeous. Sorry. I'm trying to hold the mic at the same time, but look at that. And don't look at those chopped up nails. I just popped my nails off a little while ago. But it shows you kind of like the inside of the amusement park. And from what I got from this book, it's like 16 contestants that are trying to basically survive this amusement park. And there can only be one survivor within the week. So, I mean, that sounds scary. That seems like something I would like to read. So yeah. The next book that I got for $1 is a book that I had started reading when I was in college. I got about halfway through the book and then I got consumed with papers. I wrote a damn 17-page paper on the Mona Lisa. Yes, I will say that to the day that I die. 17 pages on the Mona Lisa. Woo! Anyways, I could not finish the book. And then when I did want to finish the book, I felt like I had to reread the entire thing. So, since she's a big bitch, I've taken a little bit of time to start this. And the reason is because I want to take my time, So I have to prepare myself for a novel like this. I will say this book creeps me the hell out. This book is about Dracula, but it is the point of view of the historian. And the historian essentially is going to Transylvania to find out like the origins of Dracula, find out if Dracula is real. And I'll tell you, I was looking out my window at night. I was thinking that I was like, is this fiction? Is this nonfiction? Like, what is this? Like, it felt like a little bit too real for me. And it felt like a vampire was going to come to my window because I knew too much information and like, done. So, I don't know. Creep factor, 100. It was great. I can't wait to start reading this book again and again and again and again and again. Nah. And again, I got this book for $1. $1. And we'll put her right here. Since I liked The Secret History, got me into Dark Academia, and I adored The Goldfinch, I decided to give The Little Friend by Donna Tartt a try. And based off of the first sentence alone, the setting is in Alexandria, Mississippi, where one Mother's Day, a little boy named Robin Cleve was found hanging from a tree in his parents' yard. Got me pissed. I felt like, I want to find out who did this. And look at how creepy. We're creepy. That has to be the creepiest little cover. Excited to read that too. Another book that I got from the used bookstore this time. And I believe I got this from the used bookstore as well. How much did I pay for this? $7. But got that from the used bookstore. The next one I got from the used bookstore, and I was so excited to read this book. I had been excited to read this book since 2020 because the cover was just gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. And give me a Spanish author anytime, and I'll take it. You saw my little arm jiggle, 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 jiggle. All right. Next book that I got was Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia, and it was my first Gothic novel. I enjoyed it. It is about a woman named Noemi who gets letters from her cousin who just married a wealthy man, and she lives in a mansion. But since her cousin is secluded in this mansion, she writes back to her family. More importantly, she writes back to Noemi. It just seems cryptic, the messages. So Noemi goes over to the mansion to find out what's going on. And she finds out that house has a whole life of its own, literally and figuratively. It really does. And I realized through this book that I am not a fan of body horror whatsoever. It talks about bulbous sores, oozing things out of your mouth. Didn't like that, but overall it was a good book. Another book that I read by Sylvia Moreno Garcia was Velvet Was the Night. And now that book, it was a quick read, really enjoyed it. I felt like it could be like a quick little series. It was good. Another book that I got from the used bookstore, and I don't do thrillers that often besides the Alex Cross series because that was dope, is The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. Now, I wanted to get this book because when I was watching BookTube, it was just like, it was about a woman who shot her husband like 9 times in the face, and then she refused to speak after, and this therapist is trying to find out why. I say she had a good reason, but I don't know. So I want to find out, and I'm going to read this book. Done. We're almost done here, I promise. Just 2 more books. Well, 3, because the one I'm reading. I got another book that is just a classic that probably every 14-year-old girl should read. Maybe 15. I don't know. Maybe even younger. Who fucking knows? But it's Little Women, and I'm super excited to read this. It felt like a vintagey copy, And I got this book for $1. Super excited. If you don't know about Little Women, then I don't know where you've been. This book, though, I think I learned about gods and goddesses in like 8th grade at school. I don't know if it's younger now, older now, I don't know. But this was intriguing to me, and it's about Circe. Circe is, I think she's not even a god. She's like a minor god, or she is a nymph, and her father is Helios, and I don't even think he's a god. He's a titan, from what I think. But anyways, I'm excited to read this because I love when they give perspectives to gods and goddesses that we normally wouldn't have, like even like Hades and Persephone. Like if you really dive behind the story of Persephone, it's a lot different than what you probably would think. Just like Medusa, the story behind Medusa is just so much different than people would think. So intriguing, love it, super excited to read this book. And now for the book that I am currently reading, and it's actually it's so fun. It's the first fantasy book that I've read in a while. I mean, I don't know if The Secret Life of Addie LaRue has it feels magical because she did some magic. I don't know. What I'm reading right now is The Night Circus. Now, I just want the clock. Like, can I just have the clock in my room? The clock seems amazing. It has the face of the clock, the way they describe it is it has clouds of 12 different colors, just illuminating in the front of the clock. And the way they describe the rest of the clock is just amazing. And I don't know, it just seems fun. And the magic in the book seems fun. And I just want to live in it. And the idea of a night circus, hello. Can we have a night circus, though, that's for only adults? Because, please, we have some drinks, maybe, Anyways, can't say too much on YouTube. But I'm reading The Night Circus. I'm super excited to find out what happens. I'm not in any rush to get through it. And then the next book after this, I think I'm going to read The Ninth House, whatever. So if you do like the genres that I'm into, I would stick around because I plan to give you at least 1 book video a month, whether it's my favorite books, book recommendations, a book haul, or books that I've read for that month. I'm super excited to do that. The basis of this channel is I got a little tattoo here. It says Her Story. You see my psoriasis there. Whatever. But since I took history in school, I realized a lot of women's stories were kind of removed from history. And since history is his story, I decided to change it to her story. And I'm hoping to concentrate this channel on the history of small towns, women's history, and also museums. You know, I love to visit different museums. So stay tuned. My next video, I will be going to the Van Gogh Museum, and I plan to take you guys with me. So if you stood this long, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And until next time.